Mary Esther Gardner Staheli Putnam had 2 children in Vietnam with husband Frank Staheli, who died in a farming accident in 1986. Staheli worked on the family farm in Washington Fields and was part of the Utah National Guard's 222nd Field Artillery Unit. In 1962, he got the call to help install communications in Vietnam.
My mother was all concerned that we were going to live in a thatched roof hut and that there wouldn't be any doctors. Vietnam, until 1954, was a French provincial area. It was French Indochina, and it was a really nice home we lived in.
While most of the family's time in Vietnam was peaceful, there were times to be concerned as well.
One night, a gentleman came in, and he'd been, and I don't know whether he was with the government or the military, and I remember having to clean up his arm and wash out towels because somebody had shot him in the arm while he was driving up the countryside.
Another time, after leading choir services for the local Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, she got a warning to hunker down. Instead, she drove herself to the hospital to have her second child.
I was not happy when I sent my husband over to the MAG compound to buy me a bag of flour because I was mixing some bread. And he came back and he says, "You're not going to need this flour because you're going home." And I said, "Say what?" And he said, "Yeah, we've just had communication that President Johnson is sending all the dependents home."
She also recalled being in Vietnam when receiving news that shocked the world.
He came back and said, "President Kennedy's been assassinated." So whenever anybody asks about where were you when you heard about that.
Frank Staheli and sister Annette Graff told St. George News it was pretty cool growing up and telling people where they were born. Going back to visit with family has always been on their bucket list. The family took flight one day before the anniversary of Frank Staheli's death to return to Vietnam for the first time since 1964. This is Haven Scott reporting for St. George News, your #1 source for local news.